he had no intention, in my opinion, of settling this war. I think he wanted the whole thing. When I got elected, we spoke, and I think we're going to have a deal. I can't guarantee that. You know, a deal is a deal. Lots of crazy things happen in deals, right?
Donald Trump is, at the moment, sort of turning the whole orthodoxy on its head when it comes to everything. In some cases, that's helpful. In some cases, it's extremely harmful. As far as Ukraine goes, as a person who's a big supporter of Ukraine, I think it's very harmful. I think that Ukraine is the victim. I think Vladimir Putin is the perpetrator. And I think to try to switch that around is highly offensive to anybody who cares about Ukraine and anyone who cares about morality and truth. I mean, it's shocking what Putin has done, and to side with the criminal is really pretty horrifying. It's very hard to make predictions about meetings between people, particularly Trump, who is sort of operates by the seat of his pants, as opposed to based on some policy which has been cooked up by people over a long period of time, looking at all the pros and cons and strengths and weaknesses. And so it's impossible to predict, you know, did he have a good night's sleep? Is he feeling good about himself? Did someone say something mean to him on Twitter? That kind of thing. And so I don't think we can make any predictions about how he's going to behave with Putin, who's going to be tougher with who. Maybe they're all going to be friends. It's impossible to know. Donald Trump holds all the power. Vladimir Putin is a weak dictator from a tiny country when it comes to a tiny economy. The economy of Russia's smaller than the state of New York. His military is exhausted. Donald Trump can do or say anything he wants, and Vladimir Putin would have to submit. But it doesn't. That power relationship isn't how it appears right now.
And I think I have the power to end this war. And I think it's going very well. But today I heard, oh, well, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal. I could have made a deal for Ukraine that would have given them almost all of the land, everything, almost all of the land, and no people would have been killed, and no city would have been demolished, and not one dome would have been knocked down.
What we've seen is a lot of harsh words for Zelensky from Trump. We've seen Trump sort of insult him, call him a dictator, claim that he has no cards, that he owes money for past military support. But nowhere have we seen Trump saying to Putin, you have to do this, you have to do that, etc. What we've seen is really just sort of warm overtures towards Putin at the moment.
We had a very good talk with, people didn't really know what President Putin's thoughts were, but I think I can say with great confidence he wants to see it ended also. That's good. And we're going to work toward getting it ended, and as fast as possible.
Well, it's very interesting because it used to be that there were Twitter bots. There was also various type of Facebook algorithms. That was the old technology for influencing public opinion. And of course, now TikTok is a major source of political influence, and I would imagine that there'll be new technologies, how artificial intelligence plays a role, how deep fakes play a role. That's yet to be seen, but surely that's the frontier for political manipulation. Donald Trump is his superpower is his total unpredictability. That's what makes him so difficult for all these people like Xi Jinping and the dictator of Korea, North Korea. And so, nobody knows what's going to come out of his mouth next. Could be good, could be bad, hard to say.
I think that President Putin and President Zelensky are going to have to get together, because you know what? We want to stop killing millions of people.
On one hand, Donald Trump has made various overtures towards Putin. He's talked about welcoming Putin back into the G7. Um, he has forbidden anybody who works for him to say that Putin was the aggressor. He voted with Russia and North Korea and Iran on Russia's side against the Ukraine resolution at the United Nations. And so um, it looks like he's sort of submitting himself to Putin, and it's not going to be really a negotiation. But Donald Trump is full of surprises, so let's see what he does next. I don't think that Putin is getting anywhere near what he's wanted. But what Putin has wanted since the very beginning of this war, and he's been very consistent, there's not been any mystery about this, is Putin wants total capitulation of Ukraine. He wants to occupy Ukraine. He wants to install a governor of Ukraine to report to him, and he wants to take away any resistance from the Ukrainian people. That's what Putin wants. And so anything less than that, occupying some small part of Ukraine, um, Western peacekeepers, those types of things are not something that Putin wants. Now, Putin, of course, has one big problem, which is that he's fully burned through all of his resources. He's burned through 870,000 soldiers, 10,000 tanks, 30,000 artillery systems. He's kind of running out of stuff. And so he could use a break to rearm and, get everything back into order before he makes his next move. And of course, he would love to do that in an environment where sanctions have been lifted so he can sell stuff, get his money back, et cetera. So Putin has no intention of stopping on Ukraine, and he has no intention of stopping once he succeeds in Ukraine, if he succeeds in Ukraine, going after places like Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania.
Well, I'm not going to make security guarantees beyond very much. We're going to have Europe do that because it's we're talking about Europe as their next door neighbor.
There's a good chance of ending up in a World War III scenario under any circumstances because Putin is such a dangerous man. I think the biggest protection we have from a World War III scenario are the Ukrainians. As long as Putin is fighting the Ukrainians, he's not going to be fighting us. And the Ukrainians are ready to die to protect their country. And so we should give them all the resources they need so that they can fight Putin and fight the Russians and keep us out of it.
During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first.